Hey, what's up? It's Nathan Vardavarian.
I'm Amanda Pittman.
Hi everybody, my name is Vika Karas.
Hello, my name is Danielle Ponsat.
Hello, John Recchia here, one of the graduating seniors.
Hi, I'm Kelsey. I'm a recent graduate from Illinois Wesleyan with my degree in English writing.
Hi guys, Allie Wiegand here. I'm one of the seniors graduating with the 2020 English class.
Favorite English class taken at IWU, English 258 on the Beat bus. I was like sort of the Beat generation of writers, and it was with Turkla. I never pictured myself reading those works. I didn't even know they existed, and I just took the class on a whim, and I was really happy with all the readings we did, and I loved Turkla as a professor, a super great dude. Said he retired.
Some of my favorite memories of the English house, which no longer exists, there's a lot, but my favorites, I must say, has to be those holiday parties we used to do. Those were so good. We would play literary games and we would win books, and I still have those books, and I won some pretty cool ones, so it was just really fun to be around everybody and laugh and really just bond as an English community.
What English professor touched you the most? Professor Diaz. I think she is just the most fabulous woman ever. She's basically like Superwoman. She is just a little spitfire and is so good about engaging you in classes and helping you learn and furthering you as an English major and someone who can go out into the world and do anything with an English major. She's really big about helping you see all the possibilities that you could potentially do in your life with an English major. And I think she influenced me a lot in my 2 years that I was in the program, 2.5 years I was in the program, and I'm hoping I can keep up my relationship with her outside of undergrad.
My favorite book that I read in class, I really liked The Left Hand of Darkness. We read it in Chapman sci-fi class. I never was really into sci-fi, but that book really blew my hair back.
Favorite thing you've written at IWU? Oh my god, John, you're gonna kill me. So the cheating answer is my senior research project, which is a 56-page collection of my poetry that actually earlier today was just approved for research honors, and I'm super delighted about it. That's a collection of poetry that I have written my entire time at IWU. The first meeting Toonie and I had, we sat down with I think over 100-page packet that had every poem I've ever written in college, and we went through and said which ones we would use and which ones we would not use in the project. And then I wrote a bunch of new ones for that. To give you a real answer, my favorite poem that I wrote at IWU was Goddamn Ham Sandwich. It was a poem discussing the grief that exists in a breakup, specifically one that I went through, that I realized at the time of writing that poem, shortly before writing that poem, I realized that relationship was abusive, and I never processed how I was in that abusive situation, and how that affected me and all that. I don't think I've really written anything like it, and I really appreciate it for existing, for me being able to make it into a reality.
My biggest takeaway from the English major is be as involved as you can. Really, there's so many options, so write things for tributaries, go to Loudmouth Monday. I joined that late in the game, but I thought it was so much fun. It's a stand-up slam poetry night every first Monday of the month, so I love doing that. Take advantage of the Phoenix Theater if you want to do like a open mic night or a play like me or anything. That is a great space to use.
Our favorite class, English class that we've taken at IWU. And my answer to that would be probably the 18th century restoration class that Chapman put on about a year ago. I love Chapman's classes. I think he's really good about engaging and allowing for conversation to happen, and he's really good about asking questions that elicit conversation, and he does a really great job with that.
Favorite English house memory? The English house, every time I went there to meet with Chapman, I would get lost, even though he's on the first floor. There's just so many stairs and everything. Also, I always thought the building was very scary from the outside, but I will miss it.
Favorite English house memory? Well, I was there quite a bit. I was an essay for 3 years at the English House, and my favorite pastime at the English House is talking to Kathy Bradley about the weather. No one on this planet is more passionate about their hate for snow than Kathy.
I think my favorite English class I took at IWU was something called Form and Void, which was a poetry class that Professor Tooney taught. It was about Japanese poetry, actually. And that was really cool for me because I like Japan. And learning more about haiku and how it's so much more than just the 5-7-5 thing was really neat.
The professor that touched me the most, I think, has to be Dr. O'Gorman. She has been my rock through all 4 years of Wesleyan. I don't think I would have made it this far without her. Just fantastic woman, immensely impressive woman, and absolute genius.
Favorite thing I've written? The thing I've written for a class at Wesleyan would be the last poetry project I did for a class I took with Professor Tooney. It was in a style that I hadn't really heard of or explored before, and it was a lot of fun to write, and it was a lot of fun to present too. It's something I'm still working on a little bit.
You may or may not know, I was a double major for the first 3 years I was at Wesleyan, but the English department is far and away the best on campus, so I pledged my allegiance to the English department, dropped that second major, and my advice to underclassmen who are on the fence, who are thinking about an English degree, are struggling to pick between a couple majors would be do the same. You won't regret it.
My favorite thing that I've written at Wesleyan, although I've written many things, has to be my novel that I started last semester as part of my senior seminar class. My senior seminar class was with Professor Reisenweber, and it was for writing majors, and in this class I decided to begin writing my first novel. That's always been a goal of mine, and this class gave me the opportunity to really start working towards that goal. My book is called La Sal de Nuestras Lágrimas in Spanish, or The Salt of Our Tears in English, and it is based on my time in Sevilla, Spain, where I studied abroad last year. It's based on a true story, and it also is written in multiple languages. It bounces back between Spanish and English and a little bit of French, and I think it really showcases the work I've done over my 4 years and the things I've learned.
Advice to underclassmen. I've noticed that a lot of my friends who are either like nursing or business or accounting majors sometimes have jobs like a year in advance of graduation, and with English majors that's not usually the case. But that's okay, because that gives us time to explore different career paths and things, and I know what I'm doing now isn't what I saw myself doing, but it's something I'm really excited about, so it works out.
Favorite book / class taken at Wesleyan had to have been James Joyce with Dr. O'Gorman, and the book being Ulysses. That book just rocked my world, and it changed forever how I read literature. And just getting to learn it from the avant-garde phenom that is Dr. O'Gorman was super, super special to me. Also, honorable mention to Chaucer, taught by Professor Turkla. Having to read Middle English as a scared sophomore in front of the class was one of the most terrifying things I've ever had to do. But in hindsight, pretty awesome.
Favorite thing that I've read? I took a class my freshman year with Professor Sainsbury, who is now retired, called Third World Women Speak, and it was all writings by female authors from the Middle East. And one of the best books that we read in that class was a book called Girls of Riyadh. I don't recall the author at the moment, but that book really kind of was my first foray into international literature, and realizing that you can't view everything through a Western lens, because if you do, you will miss a lot.
My favorite class at Wesleyan by far in the English department or otherwise was Joyce with Professor O'Gorman. Ulysses also is my favorite, the most important, the most influential book I've read. Though I also loved avant-garde fiction, and I'm loving Infinite Jest with Dr. O. I've had some great courses with Dr. Roby. That was pre-1865 American literature and queer lit.
My favorite thing that I've written at Wesleyan was actually not for an English class, but I wrote a full-length play called The Skyscraper Perspective. So I was very proud of myself for doing that. And I put it on in the Phoenix Theater. And that was just the longest play that I've ever written. And I really like theater, so that was something that I felt really proud of myself for doing.
What English professor touched you the most? Toonie. Hands down Toonie. He found me my freshman year and had me get on board with helping to revitalize lyrical graffiti. He has been instrumental in the growth that lyrical graffiti has seen in my time at IWU. He has helped me find my voice as a poet. He's just the most impactful academic person I've ever had in my life. I probably wouldn't be a poet if it weren't for him. I don't know if I would have tried to get back into it at IWU or not. Toonie. Toonie is a huge influence for me.
I also was introduced to Professor Toonie through English 280, and he has been a massive help to me throughout my career at Wesleyan. Some of the biggest, most important things I've done here, I couldn't have done without him.
Advice to underclassmen. It goes fast, I guess, so just enjoy it all while you can.
The biggest takeaway from your English major. I would say that it prepared me for practically anything that has to do with analysis, as well as writing. It's really hard nowadays to come across people who write really well. And so I think that's a really good skill to have, and as well as obviously analysis. Data is a huge source right now, potentially overpassing oil. And I think that anyone that can analyze data, whatever form that comes in, is really valuable. So I think that is a big takeaway I've taken from my English major.
And something I'm going to miss about the English department is definitely being surrounded by so many great writers and just fun people. Being in that environment space was really inspiring for my own writing. So yeah, I'm going to miss that a lot.
And what I will miss most about the English department, I'm going to miss discussing these great books with smart classmates driven by invested professors who are kind and caring and understanding. And yeah, I'm going to miss that.
And what I'll miss most about the English department is definitely all the professors. All of you touched my life in a very substantial way. And I can't thank you enough for it. And I really hope we stay in touch as the years go on. I'm gonna miss you all. I love you all. And hope to see you on the other side of this.
What I'm going to miss most about the English department, and I think what I'm going to miss most is my amazing professors. My professors have not just served as teachers throughout the 4 years, and not only have I taken some of my favorite and some of the most fun classes with them, but they have also served as mentors, as friends, as people that I could look up to, that I could come to when I was in the jam, when I was having trouble with an assignment, or just all these doubts about what I'm going to do in the future, and they would be there always to help me and to remind me of my potential. So shout out to Professor Diaz, Professor Reisenweber, Professor O'Gorman, all of my English professors. Thank you so much for being such great and dedicated and inspiring people. You have really made a difference in my time at Wesleyan, and I'm very grateful for that.
What I miss most about the English department, I would say the people. I loved the professors and I loved all the friendships that I made in classes. So I will miss them all, but hopefully we will stay connected, and I really encourage all the underclassmen to really form those bonds because they're something really special, and the community at Wesleyan is something that's really important. So I hope that you cherish it.
Hey seniors, Mike here.
Hello, graduating class of seniors. This is Joanne Diaz.
Hey everybody, it's Dr. O'Gorman, Dr. O.
I'd like to read to you from the book of Covidians, chapter 19, verses 4 through 6.
It is hard to know what to say these days. And of course, when it's hard to know what to say, it might just be time for a poem. It's called Not the Poem We Need Right Now.
I want to start with a quote. Those of you who know me will realize it had to be that way. And it's from Infinite Jest.
I'm going to read you a poem that I've been thinking about every day during this pandemic, and it's helped me to feel the radical hope that I've needed. And I hope that by sharing it with you, it might be able to give you that feeling as well. And so this is by the great German poet Rainer Maria Rilke.
And yea, though social distancing compressed us into video boxes, often with poor sound quality, the class of 2020 will remain fully uncompressed in our hearts and minds, because verily we have shared something unique together. We are centaurs who began spring semester as mere humans, with reasonable goals and the expectation that whatever we did and however we performed, one thing was certain: we would all don those traditional, if slightly pretentious, caps and gowns at commencement and celebrate the end of 4 years together.
The poem We Deserve is perfectly worthless. It won't support ads, it has nothing to sell us, and needless to say, it won't pay for our lunch. Its words are furtive, foreign to follow, explosive to mouth. Its structure is like a church which is loyal to no one. All its shapes and sounds are the most frivolous kinds of pleasures, with no past relation, perishing now and refusing later. The poem We Deserve wasn't built. It resists all systems, pre-existing structures, acceptable modes of power. In other words, the poem We Deserve is pure revolution. Once it exists, it always has been like this. After it's over, nobody notices, no one remembers.
And the quote is, everything I've ever let go of has claw marks on it.
God speaks to each of us as he makes us, then walks with us silently out of the night. These are the words we dimly hear. You, sent out beyond your recall, go to the limits of your longing, embody me. Flare up like a flame and make big shadows I can move in. Let everything happen to you, beauty and terror. Just keep going. No feeling is final. Don't let yourself lose me. Nearby is the country they call life. You will know it by its seriousness. Give me your hand.
Feeling a love for poems and feeling privileging that kind of state of unknowing feels like a bit of indeed a privilege these days. But what a privilege it is. And here's to looking toward brighter days when we can all really kind of engage that privilege kind of even more fully, to think deeply again, perhaps with maybe clearer heads, even if enlightened by these difficulties in which we currently find ourselves.
But of course, we ended the semester like Budweiser Clydesdales, plodding toward a finish line that, like the island in Lost, seems to keep moving. We're centaurs too, because we began your time here rooted in the tradition of the English house, but ended it by being the first group of faculty and students to shift to our new home in CLA.
Okay, so many of you got to know me first in my last of 2 years as department chair. And that meant I got to know most of you initially as you were coming into the university, and you came anyway, which is quite a tribute to you. So there's a tribute nobody else can pay to you. And the fun we had when I got to sign all those forms exempting you from anything I could possibly exempt you from, that too was so special. I loved being able to do that. What little power the department chair had, I tried to wield on your behalf, and I hope it felt that way.
I just wanted to say congratulations. I I am so proud of you. You have worked so hard. You've challenged yourselves. You've challenged me. Just by virtue of knowing you, I have grown, and I just feel so lucky that I got to work with so many of you, sometimes in several different classes, and I learned so much from you. And what a joy that I get to be a professor and be on that journey with you.
So I hope with that poem I've increased your friend circle a little bit and use it then simply, hopefully, to reinforce our bonds as well. I wish you well in your post-Illinois Wesleyan life, but I trust you know that there kind of is no such thing. I hope that we remain in contact in many different ways.
Then there were those of you who risked life and limb and sanity of all kinds by going to England with me. OMG. On the one hand, what happened in Dublin stays in Dublin. On the other hand, what happened in the English house stays in the English house too, right? Our dearly beloved English house. We have been through so much together, you and I. From your start with my last year as chair to now, all of us leaving the university together. It's my last year teaching, which makes you feel like such a special group for so many reasons.
I love etymologies of words. So of course I looked up the word education, and it comes from the ancient Latin for educare, which means to direct the flow or course of, or to lead out in a particular direction. And I hope that you feel that we as professors have done our small part to lead you toward the questions that you enjoy considering the most. And we've allowed you to think about what you value, how you like to represent yourself, how others represent their experiences in the world.
And yea, though we've been sheltered in place for 40 days and 40 nights and might as well be on an ark, rest assured that faculty have fond memories of the class of 2020. Without naming names, for there are too many, the fondest are always of students who came to our offices often to chat, who seemed to enjoy class discussions as much as we did.
How many times did you see me in class just weeping with laughter, unable barely to continue? Well, that's pretty much how I feel now. I can't believe I'm making it through this without weeping, with laughter, or otherwise, but so far I have. So here's to us, class of 2020. I'm one of you. We're all suffering through this and laughing and weeping and loving each other through this. And on the one hand, I want to quote the end of the Sirens chapter of Ulysses, which means so much more than just the one word, where it says, done.
Who took our classes more than once, who dazzled us with brilliant papers, who challenged us and felt comfortable enough to joke with us, often at our expense, who worked under our supervision on internships, RSOs, and independent studies, who traveled places with us, and who partied with us. You rock, class of 2020. For all the uncertainty in the world right now, this much is guaranteed.
I want to remind you of how much fun we had. It was such a blast having you in class with me day after day, week after week, and then you came back for another class, having done Joyce and Ulysses, or having done avant-garde fiction or a drama class. And I love you so much for that. I truly do.
And then, I mean, come on, everybody. What I said in that previous video, it's all true, it's great, and we all love serious poems, and that's awesome. But come on, there also is comedy and humor and love and laughter and turns and surprises, and they are to be celebrated. And here, no matter what, in whatever screwed up, messed up form it is your commencement. Things are beginning, things are starting. Even if it doesn't feel like that, new things are coming into being, new forms are taking shape. That has to be celebrated and has to be enjoyed. Congratulations, rock hard, party on, when parties commence again. For now, practice social distancing. Be well, everybody.
Again, my hearty congratulations, and I really look forward to congratulating you in person when we are able to. Okay, bye.
But I also want to say, to be continued. I hope we do stay in touch. I can now be your Facebook friend if you ask me to be your friend, because I can't deal with rejection. I won't ask you. But it means we can keep up with one another in whatever way. And I truly hope we do. I just have loved getting to know you and feel so honored that you spent this part of your lives with me. Oh, I can't believe it. And I'm laughing. So there's the perfect way to end. Take care.
If you all respond to life the way you reacted to this curveball life threw you, then you will have a most successful future indeed. Good luck, and we'll miss you guys.